medals.
Yes.
But I know you were mentioning to me today was very emotional for you. Why?
You know, it brought back a lot of memories of when I first found out that I was going to be an Olympian and how that affected me in my life. That it allowed me to dream a little bit bigger, be part of a bigger community in the Olympic world, and just gave some validity to my sport and what I was doing in my life.
What did you take away from today's announcement and the excitement that has been building for years and years and years to potentially bring the games back here to Utah?
I'm incredibly excited for the youth in our communities. I've been at the Utah Olympic Oval since I retired from skating, so almost 20 years since we've had our games, or over 20 years. And I've seen so many kids come through our building, different sports, different ages, and now to know that for the ones that I see now every day that are right around that great age that may be here at the right age level in 2034, thinking about what their dreams are going to be, what their stories are going to be, their path, their road to the games. I was very emotional today, a little overwhelmed, just having those images in my mind. I've seen a couple of skaters come through our ranks and go to the Olympics, but I'm thinking at the little kids now that are in our communities that are coming out, the new ones that'll come in the next few years, knowing the games will be here. And I think they're going to be here in 34.
So much has changed since '02, but Derek's still here, which is great. We're talking about the next generation and what that will look like in 2034. How about the now? Today I had the chance to speak with someone who won silver in Beijing and calls Park City home. Here's my conversation with Colby Stevenson.
I can't imagine what the atmosphere would be like, here in my hometown. I'm sure, everyone's so supportive of the Olympics, and, that's all you hear about around here is like Olympics this, World Cup that. Like it's super rooted in this town. And I remember like going and watching an luge event, and my neighbor was in the skeleton, and then just like having the Utah Olympic Park, like growing up hitting the water ramps. Like that's what got me into freestyle skiing, was growing up here and hitting the water ramps, and ski jumping when I was littler. And just to have them return, I feel like it's just amazing. It makes sense. We have all the facilities and a lot of the talent here. Having the U.S. team based here, I think it's just a perfect fit. And to think that I'll be 36, which is probably a little old for my events, bums me out a little bit. I mean, it's not saying it isn't possible. It's just, based off the history of our sport and its progression, I might not be able to be in it, but that doesn't mean I don't want to be involved, and being, whether it's announcing, judging, coaching, whatever I can do to be a part of that. It just would be such an amazing time for this town, and obviously a super big growth, time for growth as well, in this place, and all the athletes that come out of here that are, super young right now, but they'll be in their prime at that time.
Hearing from Colby, who goes big air, big time, as you saw in that video. He's a monster, and he's got a chip on his shoulder, hoping for gold in the next Winter Games. And he was talking to me earlier today. He needs to finish in the top 2 in the standings next year to kind of get that automatic bid in. If not, he's got to fight even harder. But he talked about what it's like growing up here and using the facilities here and jumping into the pool in Park City off the jumps and whatnot. We just have it all here.
We do. You said it. I mean, all of our venues are still in great shape. Over 20 years. They're used every day. We have world championships in each sport. At the Oval, we've had, I don't know how many world records set over the time. Since the games, over 100 world records have been set on the fastest ice on earth. Just the legacy vision that was put in place way back when, and to be able to see the youth of our communities come out and every day use these Olympic venues. I can't imagine growing up as a kid having this in my backyard. But to see the opportunities and the advantages that kids have now in today's games that have been here, other countries come here. We have 30 athletes from other countries, 30 countries that are represented here, training every day. So this is the state of sport. We've got a great legacy, and stories like this are just, there's more to come, I think.
Great to be live with you tonight here in Salt Lake City. Derek Para with me, Olympian who needs no introduction as well. How are things going at the Oval? I know that we've talked about the next generation, but where is that sport? Where is the sport of speed skating here locally? We all know Nathan Chen.
Yeah. Yeah, Nathan Chen, ice skater. He kind of grew up here, right? He went off when he got to a level that he needed to go a little bit further. Speed skating is one of those sports that's a little unique in that you don't really see a lot on TV. So if you're not exposed to it, you don't really know about it. But we have a great community here, and since the games, we had a lot of athletes that are coming in. Some have stuck around like myself, really embraced the sport and brought in new kids. We're going to schools. We have youth programs in place, and we have next generation athletes that have done really well. And if you look at now, we have Jordan Stoltz, who's from back east, but calls this his home at times. Aaron Jackson came from inline skating like I did, won a gold medal in Beijing. It's just, you never know what's out there, and with that sport of speed skating, there's always a diamond in the rough somewhere that really develops later, and then all of a sudden at a games time, we have a winner.
Salt Lake City, the preferred host, as announced today by the IOC. We're talking about it here on 2 News Live. You mentioned people that have stuck around here in Utah. How about a homegrown kid who never left and who's won a couple gold medals? Here's Ted Ligety from earlier today.
I was lucky enough to be a kid when we were awarded the games here in 2002. And then was not of the age old enough to compete in 2002 like Shannon was. Sorry, I mean, I got to watch her actually, but what I was really fortunate to do was to forerun the slalom, which I was not anywhere close to being of the competitive caliber, but to see the best in the world on their biggest day, acting similar to my friends and I were at local races, was a huge realization to realize that these dreams are achievable. And then to 4 years later go on and win an Olympic gold medal in Torino was an amazing experience, a dream come true. But I think one of the coolest things about that is I was the first Utah-born and raised kid to win an Olympic gold medal in every single Olympics. Since then, we've had a new born and raised Utah win Olympic gold medals, which I think is just amazing to show what the legacy of these games has shown over the years, is that we will have kids at these Olympics that are kids right now winning gold medals, which is amazing. And that's the legacy of 2002, and that'll be the legacy of 2034 as well, which I think is just so amazing that this community can build these kind of athletes and then build these kids' dreams. And like you said, building communities. This is amazing. This is such a cool opportunity for my kids are 3 and 6, and to have them be able to just watch the games. Who knows if they'll take part, but just it's an amazing opportunity for them and for the kids of our community here. So thank you very much.
Ted Ligety, one of the many folks that spoke today. Obviously, members of the committee were there. You heard from Governor Spencer Cox there a little bit in Amanda's report. It couldn't be done without so much push and belief and involvement from people here in Utah, from those up on the Hill to those that work in sport. Fraser Bullock, Catherine Rainey Norman. I mean, the list really goes on. But 02 to today, you've been here. How much has this area changed, but how much has it also stayed enough of the same where we can host the games again with the venues that we've got?
Well, I think the city has exploded. I mean, the culture has changed since '02.
Secret's out.
Yeah, everybody's coming here, right? But now I think the key word is experience. We have a lot of experience now in running the games. We've been running our venues for 20 years. The committee before who actually put the games on, I think they were kind of, I want to say they're rookies, but they did a great job, and we've been learning every year since that. We were in line with all of our NGBs, our national governing bodies, and international bodies. So with racing and all the upgraded technology that's in place, I think we're going to have a better games because we're more experienced and know what to do. The volunteerism here in Utah is unbelievable. So to get everybody back out
I'm glad you brought that up. We were walking over here in the parking lot today, and someone said, "Oh, I worked as a volunteer in the Oval in '02," and I said, "Well, you must be excited." And she's like, "I'm excited to do it again."
Yeah.
I almost like the volunteer stories as much as I do the homegrown athletes, because there is so much passion here to bring the games back again after the experience people had in '02.
At the Oval, we have at least 10, 20-year volunteers.
Wow.
They've never left. They're out there every weekend holding a watch or changing a lap board or working our timing system. We could not run as a sport without these volunteers. So flash forward 10 more years, 34, we'll have more volunteers coming out, younger ones coming out, all experiencing this Olympic Games. And it's just something that it can't explain with words sometimes. It's an emotion or a passion that you feel, and the spirit still lives here in Salt Lake City.
Derek Para with me here tonight on 2 News Live. It's great to have you here. Are you going to be here Friday night for the lighting?
I will be here, yes.
That's cool. You and I were talking before we started here. How special is it for you to see that thing lit? That may have been the last time I saw you in person, and I think it was, last year, 2 years ago?
Yeah. When they opened this up,
And this was so cool because people came out here in just droves for days after to see the cauldron lit. It's such a staple here in the city now.
It is. It's just a memory to the games and what happened here, and all those memories that we still have in our minds. The new ones that are coming up that I'm looking forward to. It symbolizes so much. It symbolizes hopes, dreams, aspirations, and this community that we have here in Salt Lake.
As you know it, we will continue to cover this for you here on 2 News, and of course, memories of '02. And if you think it's a great idea to see 2034, so much time was spent on 2030. I think we figured out that 2034 is the true time frame. You can always catch our continued coverage, KUTV.com and on 2 News. In the meantime, you can watch our past interviews and reports on what's being done to bring the Olympics back to the Beehive State on our YouTube channel as well. Derek, it's about that time. You and I are sitting here. It is cold. We've got the gloves on. I'm wearing the scarf. I forgot the 2 News beanie back in the studio. That's where Chase Thomason is. Chase,
at least you
we
have
were looking
a beanie
out over the city.
Yep.
The inversion looks yucky, my friend. When is this thing moving out?
Yeah, it's going to blow out later this weekend into the weekend. I think by Saturday we should have some much better air. Of course, it is gunky here in the Salt Lake Valley and up and down the Wasatch Front. We live in a bowl, and every time we have stagnant air, there's not a lot of wind or precipitation, that cold air gets trapped, and what you're seeing is all that pollution that is trapped underneath the inversion layer. That inversion layer sits at about 7,000 feet, so above that, we have cleaner air. If you want to get out of the inversion, head up into some of our mountain communities where it is significantly better. Orange air, which is unhealthy for sensitive groups today and tomorrow. Sensitive groups, children, the elderly, respiratory issues, if you have asthma, if you can do remote work, try to do that for tomorrow. That will help. We want to limit how much pollution we're emitting. Now, by Friday and Saturday, a little bit of wind, a little bit of snow moving in, and hopefully we'll have some better air. Now, temperatures today, definitely cold, only a high of 36 degrees, so you need a beanie or a heavy coat if you have any evening plans or if you're going to be outdoors. Even colder, only a high of 23 today out in Vernal. A little bit milder towards southwestern Utah with Cedar City and St. George. No temperature inversion for you, and you've been in the 50s. But now we've got some cloud cover rolling into southern Utah. You can see a few showers as well. That's because of this weak storm system that's actually kind of starting to fall apart, but it'll be pushing into Arizona. A little bit of moisture will be spreading in, and that's why we have the cloud cover. Might see an isolated rain or snow shower near the Arizona border, especially in south central Utah tonight and tomorrow, but not a big deal. This storm, though, is going to send several waves. There's lots of moisture that's going to be coming our way Friday and through the weekend, so it's kind of a 3-day event, especially for northern Utah. Now, as we roll through the next few hours, there's those isolated showers that I mentioned, most of it staying in Arizona. Your Thursday is looking pretty quiet, but again, very hazy for the Wasatch Front. And then here comes the snow. It begins to move in sometime late Friday morning. Hopefully it's after your commute. Doesn't look too heavy, but we'll have light snow showers through the lunch hour. Might see a few breaks Friday afternoon, and then another round of snow moves in for northern and central Utah Friday night. This is probably our best chance to see some accumulating snowfall. Might see a couple breaks Saturday midday, but there will likely continue to see mountain snowfall. Our winds are going to be more out of the west, so that's going to favor the benches. The Ogden Valley, Wasatch Back, Cache Valley should do well with lingering showers into Saturday night and Sunday. Big question, though, is where we're going to see all this moisture, and it looks like it'll be northern Utah. Best chance for more accumulation will be north of Salt Lake City. So we're still seeing some uncertainty when it comes to valley totals, but we are pretty certain the mountains should do very well with 1 to 3 feet of snow. Wasatch Back and our mountain valleys seeing 6 to 12 inches of snow. This is a 3-day event. Cache Valley and Benches 4 to 10, a little bit lower south of Salt Lake County. Wasatch Front generally 2 to 6 inches by Sunday. I-15 Nephi to Cedar City, some of central Utah Friday night picking up 1 to 3 inches. Same thing with southwestern Wyoming. We get shadowed a lot with this westerly flow, so those valleys of eastern Utah, not going to get a whole lot. Maybe a dusting to an inch if you're lucky. Now we'll have the cloud cover in St. George through Saturday. Could see a stray shower on Friday, but most of the rain and snow stays to your north. We'll be in the low to mid 50s. A bit warmer though next week. Take a look. Wednesday, we're in the 60s in St. George. Salt Lake, 39 tomorrow, 38 on Friday. Light snow showers Friday and Saturday. Warmer air does move in, so we might start to see some rain mixing in on Sunday, and that could limit how much snow accumulation we get. And then as we head into next week, we're drying things out. Temperatures back into the mid 40s, and the haze could return as well.
All right, thank you, Chase. We're still out here, just, trying to keep the blood flowing. We're waiting for the torch, the cauldron to light on Friday. Derek and I obviously talking about what comes next here, because as we mentioned here in our coverage, this is one of many steps that need to take place. This is an encouraging day, but what happens next here in the process of actually saying the games are coming to Salt Lake City? You feel pretty good about it, right?
I think myself and the rest of the committee members are all feeling really good about our chances here. I think the rest is really a formality. It's a little like handing in paperwork, making sure all of our agreements are stamped and approved, and then just the approval. It's just a long process with the IOC, but we are ahead of the game. We've got the venues. We have the support, the government support. We don't need to build new venues. We're ready. We are ready.
Thanks for joining me tonight. Derek Para here on 2 News Live, and continuing to build the next generation of the sport here in the Salt Lake Valley and beyond. Thanks for doing what you do for the community.
Thank you. Come on to the Oval if you have a chance. We'd love to see you.
Thanks for joining us tonight. We hope to be back out here again soon. We will be out here Friday with more coverage on 2 News as they light the cauldron once again. For Derek Para, I'm Brian Schnee. Have a great rest of your evening. Thanks for joining us tonight on 2 News Live. See you soon.